Hello everyone, welcome to another video review by Kristian. Just realized I used shadow reviews in the last video. Oh well. But this is another video review by Kristian, the new face, you know, all that. But yeah, today we're reviewing Makulta. Yep. Alright, so you're like, what in the world is that? That sounds like Makulta. You know, Makulta's evil, Makulta's evil. And this is Makulta. And first thoughts when I turned it this way are just like, just look at this. I betcha one of your first thoughts is going to be, what in the world is that? Because that looks like a jumble of parts. And it's sort of meant to look like that. I'll give you a 360 real quick. Yeah, it definitely looks like a jumble of parts that are all just thrown together to make something that is this, I guess. But yeah, this thing looks crazy. I will just outright say this thing looks super weird. Looks really, really, like, I don't know if I'd say amateurish, but just odd. Like, what even is this thing? Those would be first thoughts. Now, put those thoughts to rest as I tell you that this guy is definitely supposed to look like this. The concepts and the ideas behind this guy have him looking something, or at least just like this. And you're wondering why. Well, I'll get to that soon. But for now, just know that this is how it's supposed to look. So with that said, I should say this guy actually doesn't transform. Because once I had this guy built, I was trying to, like, you know, arrange things and stuff, and then I was like, yeah, there's no way this guy is turning into anything else. So this is all you got. This guy. So, like I said, he is Makulta. Basically, he's an upgraded form of Kulta. And since Kulta sounds like Makuta, I decided Makulta because it's like a one-letter difference. And this mic fell off. Yep. So, anyway, so this is Makulta. This is what he's supposed to look like. A jumble of parts. And you see, he is wearing the Mask of Creation. So this is kind of in line with my ultimate guys. You know, I just did, you know, my super huge Titan Akimu. And this is like my super huge Titan Kulta, even though he's already kind of a Titan. Now he's a super Titan. So basically, the story behind this guy is, you know, he gets the Mask of Creation. And then, you know, he sees he's not going to last long. So he's like, use it! Because that's definitely a good idea. But it turns him into this, which he kind of intended because he was just, you know, desperately trying to turn him into something that was, like, powerful. And so he did. So this is the result. This crazy looking thing. Yeah. So the concept behind this guy, he's supposed to be, actually let me say this. This guy is supposed to be kind of derived from Lord of Skull Spiders and Kulta, since those are the two biggest villains we've gotten in Bionicle Gen 2, which is why he has the multiple legs and the multiple arms. So yeah, he pulls it off pretty well. He definitely looks, like I said, he looks just crazy, like he just threw a bunch of parts onto himself. And that is a good thing, because that is what I intended. Yeah, that's just about everything. So, I did intend for him to be crazy, and I definitely wanted him to, you know, have some influence from Lord of Skull Spiders. So, let's talk about some of his crazy things. Starting with the back. He has this tail, which this tail is constructed differently from most tails. Most of the time, I just take a bunch of the, upper arm bones from, CCBS, and then link those together to make a tail that, you know, bends like this, or like this. But this time I didn't have a whole lot of those, so I came up with something a little more interesting that, you know, is kind of cool. To connect it to the body, I use one of these small, tiny bones that it could rotate, and you could do this and stuff. Let me go down so you can see better. So then what I did was I connected an upper arm, then another one of the small bones, then an upper arm, then another one of the tiny bones, then a longer upper arm. And this actually accomplishes a really good tail effect, because not only do you get the rotation here, you get it here, which it can bend all over. Then this, it can't really go up and down, but it can do this. And then since this can do this, and then, you know, you can, it's just very odd, but it gives you like a lot of articulation. I mean, you can just pull this thing like crazy. Like you can twist it around. Like check that out. The tails I usually do not do that. I can tell you that. you can just do some crazy twisting and stuff with this kind of tail. It's just an accident, but it just works so well. Cause I mean, you have your side to side here, then you have your twist and your bend all over here, so you can do some crazy things with this tail. I don't know about crazy, but you can do some pretty cool things with this thing. Like you can have it like that, like he's you know, kind of whipping it around. It's just pretty cool. Yeah. So there's that. Now for his legs, you can see all his legs look different, except for his front two. His front two are the same. Got some trans orange up there and some gold, with the bones right here that used to be in his legs. Back legs though all look pretty different, and this keeps falling off, so I'm going to leave that off for a second. So for the going from the perspective of Makulta, of, oh my gosh, I'm losing words. Going from this perspective of Makulta, his left side has this kind of style. It has this spike here in the back, the foot up here, then it has these trans orange and the new Skull Villain armor. Yeah. That is this side, and on the other side, he falls. He has the foot with the 2 chest plates and some trans blue up here. And I'll talk about the colors in a little while. But for now, that's how it's arranged, just to make it look more random and less uniform. Yeah. So, moving on, let's talk about weight in terms of all 6 legs. The front up here, this main Makulta body, is actually pretty heavy for these bones to support. Like, seriously, if you took out both of these, then it'd fall forward like it just did. So unfortunately, you can't have like both of the front legs up in the air, but I've learned that if you do it right, you could have up to 3 legs off the ground. I'm not going to do it here because that'll be difficult, but you can generally just pull up one of his front legs and it'll stand just fine. So that's what I usually do, pose him with at least one front leg up, you know, doing something. Like, maybe he's looking off to the side and he's like, hey, you, get over here. So yeah, I mean, he has 4 arms for that, so I'm not really sure why he'd point with his leg, but, you know, villains do weird things and crazy things, and yeah. So, aside from that, let's go over his articulation, which I'm kind of dreading because he has 6 legs. I suppose I don't have to do all of them, though. So for his normal arms, let's just move this out the way. They can go up about this far. They can go forward and back. Then they can rotate like this. And just like on his official build, he does have the friction extenders up here. In my experience, it kind of makes it kind of difficult to move this around because of all that friction. But I suppose it's doable, I guess. It is, like I said, a little bit more difficult and kind of, you know, a little annoying because you have to put more force behind it and you could possibly, like, move the gearbox or something. Which, by the way, this guy does have his entire gearbox from the original build. But, moving on. He has his elbow, which can go up like this, can bend more than 90 degrees, and then you have all your hand articulation. So, that would be pretty much the same down here, except, let's see, he has the, his arms built like Bohatu's. It's even, you know, transparent like his. So it has, come on, seriously. So it's definitely a something to get all the stuff out the way so you can move something. It has a rotation, just like that. So yeah, so that's pretty much the same as all the others. There goes the mask. Yeah, you can see that messing around with this guy is definitely a process. You know, you're flipping things around, trying to move things to get other things, and yeah. So the other arm, you know, that's standard. Down here, it's pretty much the same as his other trans blue arm. You have your rotation and all your other articulation. He has a 3rd bone though, so this one is 2 bones, which is the norm for most things. This one has 3, so you get a rotation down here with this longer bone, and up here, then he has his claw, which can go down, it can rotate. You know, you have your different stuff. So yeah, and this claw is mostly made for grabbing masks, which I have all these, which is why it's here, and it's longer than the other arm. Now, for the legs. The front legs can go back, just like this. Forward, they can go up and down here. Rotate, they can rotate down here, just like that. and then they can go up and down. So pretty good. I find that with the front legs, you usually don't go back or up very much unless you're like bringing his leg up, but you know, if you ever need that for a pose, if you build this guy, then it's there. It's pretty much the same with all the others, except they have 2 joints instead of 3. So you have your stuff up here, then you got your rotation and your bend, and you got your foot. So yeah, pretty much all the legs move in the same way. And yeah, so I showed you the tail already. These things are really meant to move. They're supposed to be like random parts assemblies. Yeah. So let me talk about the colors of this guy, because this guy has some wild color combinations. He is blue and red and black and silver and gold, and it looks really crazy. So rationalizing that, he has the Mask of Creation, and Akimu himself, who is supposed to wield the Mask of Creation, or is meant to wear it, he is trans blue and gold. So the gold is mostly just because, you know, it's kind of symbolizing the ultimate form of these guys. The trans blue is more to symbolize what he has added onto himself. Like, you may, then, you know, knowing that, you might be like, well, all of them isn't trans blue, even though he, like, edited his entire body. I don't have the trans blue to, you know, make an entire trans blue figure. So I did what I could, you know. The black or just normal colored stuff would be things that have, like, solidified into, like, complete reality. I guess you could say that the trans blue is just like creation energy flowing through them, and then the gold also complements that trans blue from the Mask of Creation. That's pretty much the concept behind all the wild colors on this guy. So you see some trans blue here, which means that part's been added onto himself and it's not yet like, well, I mean, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like in reality, but it's not yet in reality, like not yet permanent, I guess. But you know, yeah, and since I don't know, or I don't think anyone knows exactly how this mask works, it's kind of up to me to decide how it goes down. But yeah, so that's the explanation for the colors. This up here, these 2 assemblies back here, they're just there to make them look a lot more random. Like if I put these down like this, kind of cover them up, you know, it's a thing, it's a spider thing. Then I put these up, and they add quite a bit of, like, I don't know, background ambiance or something. It just makes them look all that much more like thrown together and random, because you have these 2 random, just all this random stuff, you know, sticking off them. And yeah, so back here is just a simple, you know, just this. You got some trans blue down there. Has a beast head on the back, just because he used to be a beast, and it was pretty random to slap a beast head on there, so it was like, random? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Up here, it's just some trans blue and some these 2 appendages here, which you can move these things around to get different effects. I'm not really sure what you move them around to accomplish, but you know, yeah, you can move them. So there's that guy. And I forgot the head articulation. It is on 2 of these tiny bone pieces, and there's the trans red one. So it can go forward. It has a lot of bend, a lot of articulation. He can extend, he can shorten, he can rotate at multiple points. You can get this guy looking like crazy. Like, you can get him to do this. I mean, that is just not a thing normal heads are meant to do. So yeah, that's got some insane articulation, and overall the neck is extended just to make it look like way weirder, because his neck wasn't all that much, well, in proportion to his body, and the neck wasn't really all that much longer. So with that all said, I guess I can move on. So next we'd have, like, you know, different stuff he can do. Besides walking with 6 legs, he does have this claw, which I mentioned. It's meant to grab mask off people's face. And since I don't have another face, we'll use his. So it's just kind of meant to come up there, and the claws can hook behind the mask and then pull it off. He can also hold the mask pretty well. So if you just slap this in there and then wrap the claws around it. Usually the thumb doesn't do much, but, you know, the rest of the claws do it pretty well. Just got to get in there just right, and there you go. He's holding the mask. Does still have his horns up here, which you can see. And yeah, so let's move on to the weapons. So his main weapon, which I'm not going to put on him because this guy is already huge as he is his mask grabbing staff. Which I actually found out before I did this review that this thing is actually pretty powerful. Like, I just thought it was a normal staff that could, you know, just happens to be able to just happens to be shaped to be able to grab masks, but actually this thing has some powers. Apparently it can drain masks and destroy them in a single hit. So that's pretty OP. So yeah, there's that. And you've seen that on Makulta before. So for the rest of his weapons, I have some gold blades from Tahu, Lewa's axe head, and then the hook blade. So the way these are supposed to be assembled are they're supposed to go in his two arms over here. So you take a gold blade and put it up here, and then an axe head, which is basically Lewa's entire axe, just with a gold blade instead of a silver one. And then over here you can put on this hook blade with the jagged edge forward, then the gold blade, like so. This way he can kind of come up with his arm. Let me see if I can show you. Kind of come up like that, and then flick his wrist like that, and he can like snap your mask off or something. But yeah, so those are his other two weapons beside his staff, and they look pretty good. You can have them, you know, kind of, you know, do like a staff, like, yep. And then there's that. So yeah, they're not that creative, but I guess I didn't feel creative with the weapons at that time, because I didn't give them very good weapons, or at least very creative weapons. And like I said, he has his arm here, you have all your legs, and yeah, it's a thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put the staff on just so you can get the full effect of how crazy this guy looks. So, bottom of this top, here's the bottom, and yeah, so there he is. There's Makulta with all his glory. Fortunately, I took apart every single one of my figures, or at least most of them, in order to build this guy, so there's no comparing I can do. But this guy just looks crazy. I mean, a protector would probably be about this height in comparison to him, which is, I guess not that bad. But, I mean, you can consider this guy has 4 arms, 3 weapons, this giant, huge staff, the mask of creation, 6 legs, and a beast head, and a tail. What chance does a protector stand? Or, you know, like Tiny Akimu for that matter. The Toa had a hard time with him before he had a mask of creation and looked like this. So you can imagine how hard this guy would be. Eventually he loses the mask, and I'll tell that story in the next video. But for now, that's about all I have to say. I went over everything I remembered to go over. Definitely a crazy man. Let's just give it one more 360, as I say. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for more mock content. And I will see you guys later during the next video. So, see you guys later, and bye.